I am not a bounty hunter. I've heard otherwise.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Not good morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press Retrospectives. But this is the special episode for Star Wars Day. I'm your host, Diego Crespo.
Star Wars Day, the most important thing happening right now.
Yes. That's my co-host, Matt Garingo.
Yes, it is I, Matt Garingo.
I might put some links in the description for those of you interested in donating to causes that really need it right now. And quite frankly, it's a very dark, disturbing time in the real world. So we're probably going to stray away from talking about that.
So let's complain about Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go. Again, links in the description to support basically all women's rights. Okay, anyways.
Support everything.
Everything.
Everything good and decent in this world. Support it right now.
And also Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we haven't talked about Star Wars in full in quite some time. So I told Matt months ago, we should talk about the Book of Boba Fett for May the 4th. And then so much happened, both good and bad in our personal lives, that it just got we got a little busy, and then we were doing the failed award contenders retrospectives, which ends with Michael Mann's The Insider next time we talk, so I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be coming out soon.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think we could squeeze it in.
I really want to talk about a thriller like that right now.
oh, fucking boy. But yeah, and then Matt this week was like, hey, we should do that still, and I was like, fuck, you're right. And I think it's a good excuse to talk about why people are still mixed about Star Wars. And by people, I mean nerds. Who don't go outside.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are always mixed on Star Wars, unfortunately.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to keep, beating a dead horse, because I think our opinions about Star Wars, they still track, not just our personal opinions, but, our opinions about the opinions on Star Wars. Everything we've said about why people react to Star Wars a certain way in brands, it's still prevalent, and maybe arguably more so than ever. You know? It's there was discourse, I don't know if you saw this, about the ending of the Book of Boba Fett, where it wasn't about any of, the character or even the plot logistics happening. It was oh, that guy spun around dramatically to shoot someone with his laser pistol. That was dumb. It's really? That's what you fucking nerds are complaining about?
I don't even want to get into it too much, but when I was watching the Book of Boba Fett, I was suddenly I recognized voices and stuff like that I wasn't so sure of. So I went to IMDb to figure out who was who in each episode. And I scrolled down and I passed a review, and it was it's one of those things where I don't want to fucking judge people, but I can tell that people have made up their minds before they've watched something, you know? Mm-hmm. Because suddenly everything is bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just with Star Wars. We should also say that, and that's something we can even be guilty of. Anyone can be guilty of it. Is that if you,
I've been texting Diego about every little thing I had wrong with Spider-Man No Way Home, and I mean at this point I'm angry at all of it, but. That's what happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. I get it. Just don't act like that's not what's happening.
Yeah, and I tweeted about it recently too, where I went back to look at a podcast I used to follow pretty regularly, and it's been years since I kept up with them. And I was curious about what their thoughts were. They're revisiting a lot of the Star Wars movies right now. And I was curious about what their thoughts were, because they recently revisited The Last Jedi, and I know there was a fan that they brought on to discuss it, and someone else who didn't like it to discuss it. So I was like, okay, I'll check that out. And just the way they were describing it and talking about anticipating Obi-Wan, because it was weird, because they were saying I think Obi-Wan could be the next great Star Wars story. I don't think we've had a great Star Wars anything since Return of the Jedi. And then when I heard that, I was like, whoa, wait. I think you can say some stuff just isn't for you, or this I don't think
Yeah.
this worked because of X, Y, and Z. But there's been a lot of Star Wars since then, and I think at that point, you have to recognize that it's just not for you anymore.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's other stuff. This is like in my opinion, the greatest medium of any art form, filmmaking, you know? And even without filmmaking, take that out of the Star Wars equation. There's like video games, there's books, there's comics, and like I don't keep up with anywhere near to all of it. Like I keep up with about none of it right now. But there's so much out there that if that's like your approach to Star Wars at this point, it's not going to make you happy. You don't want more Star Wars. You want to go back to feeling the way those original movies made you feel. And you're not going to get that from Star Wars anymore just because you've already been introduced to it. And that's fine.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, you don't love things the way you love them as a child, you know? Like,
you could love them in different ways or love something else, you know?
Yeah, you know? It's that thing of, like, you've watched a number of things from childhood that you loved, and then you revisit, and you're like, oh, hey, like, not as good as I remember. I remember that feeling of really liking it, and I'm not upset that that happened, but, like, you just change, and then you learn to appreciate, like I said, like, the stuff I liked about Star Wars as a kid is not why I still like Star Wars, you know? It's, like, I've come to appreciate them as, like, films, and my appreciation of film has changed, and what I value in art has changed. And it's one of those things where, like, some stuff, you know, fell by the wayside. There were plenty of fucking Disney Channel original movies I liked as a kid.
Hey, Hocus Pocus is a banger.
Hocus Pocus is actually pretty solid. I wouldn't go... It's got this weird cult status now.
Yeah, no, it's for a kid's movie, it's tons of fun, and I don't think adults will want to kill themselves while they're watching it, you know?
Yeah, and, but, you know, it's, like, again, like, I don't... What I like about Hocus Pocus 2 is not what I liked about it as a kid, you know? It's just, that's just how you change sometimes. And, yeah, that is weird to be like, I haven't liked anything Star Wars. I mean, I'm not going to say that. The guy said nothing great from Star Wars.
Yeah,
since Return of the
they
Jedi.
clarified that they did enjoy stuff, but they're like, I wouldn't say there's been a great Star Wars movie. And I was like, what? And they're like, you know, like the sense of adventure. Like they would go on to explain it, and I'm like, oh, no, you want like A New Hope, Return of the Jedi again. And as someone whose favorite is Return of the Jedi now more than ever, I can say you're not getting that again because that's just not going to happen.
Well, it's also just, to me, it's like, I don't know. There's a ton of good Star Wars stuff out there.
Yeah, like you could hate every movie in the sequel trilogy. And it's like, there's so much other shit, you know?
You could literally... I'm not even, like... I don't even want to just... Like, you could literally not like a single Star Wars film. And there's plenty of shit out there to like, you know? That's
like,
how big
I've
Star
seen
Wars...
takes out there that are like, oh yeah, Knights of the Old Republic is like the ultimate Star Wars thing to me. And it's like, you know what? I love that game. I don't agree at all.
I don't agree, but
I get it, you know?
If that's where you're at, that's fine, you know? Like...
Yeah.
I'm always, like... I'm interested because now, like, kids are getting older. We're on the... 10-year cycle and shit. I want to know the kids who were introduced to Star Wars through the Clone Wars cartoon, that was their first Star Wars thing. You know? Like, I think for a lot of us, it's still the movies. Like, I think because of our age, we're the last generation that saw the original trilogy before the prequels came out, you know? But I think now it's like, that's why the prequels have become so cemented, is just... There are some people that was their introduction to it, and it's going to be the same for the sequel trilogy, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. And I'm fascinated by the kids who maybe that cartoon was their introduction, and then, like, you know, their parents like, you know, there's movies, and you're like, what? Like, that would have been something, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting to see where it goes, and I'm wondering what these TV shows, how they are influencing it.
Okay, good. Okay, lead in. I was going to, like, hard pivot and be like, anyways.
Well, we didn't talk about what we originally were going to talk about in the opening.
Yes. So there are some TV shows out there. I covered The Mandalorian with Gene and other wonderful co-host guests over the course of the 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And lo and behold, there is a second 8.5 season of The Mandalorian called The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I don't hold me to this, and this is all alleged, but I would be shocked if they had the intention to make it a full spin-off originally. I think COVID fucked them, and they needed to have something out. So they just made the Book of Boba Fett a miniseries instead of the 3rd season of The Mandalorian.
Hey, that's all right. We'll talk about that.
There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I just think that would explain a lot.
But before we talk about that, what about what's happening in the movie world of Star Wars?
I'm uploading this today, but pretend I added crickets there.
Well, weren't there, okay, there was going to be the Patty Jenkins thing, right?
Which she is still apparently attached to, as the one person who was like, yeah, the second Wonder Woman movie was pretty good. I still am not interested in her Star Wars, but I don't think that's gonna happen either. I think they're just holding out for that one.
Well, I think here's my bet. My bet is that, because I think when she announced it was gonna be a movie, right? Mm-hmm. I think everything's going to Disney Plus if they're gonna keep it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, whatever deal they're working on, it's like, okay, Patty Jenkins, now it's gonna be a miniseries on Disney Plus. Which I kind of would rather have that. I think the experiment of the anthology films that came with Rogue One and Solo, I think it's a it's interesting, but it's a failed experiment, you know? Mm-hmm. The first failed attempt to turn Star Wars into the MCU. And I would be glad if they don't try to repeat it again.
Well, the thing is, they are now. It's just in television, which is honestly my preferred way of.
That's what I'm saying. Is that if they're gonna do it, keep it to the television Disney Plus shit. You know.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Because I can ignore that, I guess is what I'm saying.
And I think it also just further reveals that, you know, people say like, oh, if you just approach Marvel like TV, it's like seasons of television. Like, it's not. But at least the production methods kind of are.
Yeah.
Where, like, the director will come in and the showrunner, Kevin Feige, will call the shots, which isn't a wrong way to approach a television show, and it's just kind of showed how you can't really do that with movies if you want to make good movies often.
Yeah.
It's just the different programming, different production mindsets, yada yada.
Although apparently the majority of the general public would disagree with us on that.
I think it's the silent or the loud minority on film Twitter. Mm-hmm. I don't know, because I know lots of people in the real world who are like, yeah, Eternals is really interesting. I want to see what happens next. And I was like, oh wow, okay, so there's something happening here. None of us will get that interesting sequel, I'm sure, but you know.
Well, because it like died at like 450 million. Like.
And hey, look, like Shang-Chi and Black Widow didn't fare much better, to be clear.
Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah, and that's not what we're here to talk about.
That's a whole other thing.
The point being is that I think the Rogue Squadron film will also evolve into television. I think you're right, because that's what happened with Obi-Wan. It's what happened with Boba Fett.
Boba Fett was going to be a movie.
Yeah, with our boy Josh Trank.
The one interesting note that I kind of want to see someone do this, honestly, if we're going to do this shared universe bullshit in movies, the thing people talked about that was part of the original plan with both Solo and Boba Fett was that they were going to both have a scene in each movie that was the same scene, and we were just going to get different perspectives on it. So one version of the scene would be from Han Solo's perspective, and the other version will be from Boba Fett's perspective. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember. I think we brought that up before.
I'm kind of interested to just see that. Like, I'm not saying, like, I want to build the entire movie around that, but that'd be like an interesting little thing to do. Hey,
you know, I think that's why all this stuff works better in television, because you can plan for that in a way.
Solo would have worked a lot better as a show, honestly. Like,
yeah, I mean, I like a lot of stuff in that movie, and I'm a fan of it.
But also
what
feels...
I've got to defend more is, like, the characters are actually, like, really engaging, and I want to see them go on more adventures.
Yeah.
In a way that television could sustain, but I have trouble seeing where the end goal of it being a movie is. You know
also
what I mean?
Feels like 7 different episodes of a TV show, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, just crammed into one movie. And I think Rogue One also could have benefited from that, but that's a whole, that's a whole.
No, I think you could have called it like Rogue Squadron or Rogue One, and that's your TV show, and you follow like a saga, and then the finale is the Death Star raid stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whoa, what an epic television show. Now,
do an episode
before we talk
for
about
each
a little bit more
character,
of like what the. Wait, sorry, what?
Yeah. I was gonna say like you could have done an episode for each character, because I think Rogue One's kind of big failing is its characters.
Yes, yeah, I definitely agree with that too.
So, but
unfortunately,
all right. Other than Patty Jenkins, there was Taika Waititi was gonna do a movie.
Still apparently attached. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, but also like he announced like the next 3 things he's doing, and they aren't Star Wars.
Well, one of the movies he did is already in the can. And I'm not talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, which I don't know anything about, but I do think it's weird. That's the one Marvel movie they didn't show at CinemaCon. He did some like sports drama, some indie sports comedy drama.
Oh yeah,
about a soccer coach. That's like it's testing like right now.
Okay.
Okay. Even today, I don't know. I got an invitation to something. Unrelated, but I saw it was like starting test screenings and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's coming out this year. I didn't even know he started filming it, and it's done, I guess. So good for him. That guy's got work ethic,
He's also on that Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah, have you seen that show?
No, I have not. I've heard good things though.
Yeah, it's a really charming, sweet, funny show, and then like it starts the drama. How it pivots into drama is like, oh, this is like the Taika flair. This is like what he's good at.
Because that's the word. Taika's in this weird space for me right now where his last movie he got the most rewarded for, and it was also my least favorite of his films.
Yeah.
So, and I think, not to be current, it's only going to age worse going forward.
Yes.
It is going to be one of those like, why the fuck did that movie get any Oscar play type movies?
Mm-hmm.
It unfortunately is going to be that.
And I think film Twitter brain has kind of soured people on him. And like, cause look, the dude has a little, how do I put this? He seems a little arrogant and cocky. Now, I don't think that is inherently a bad thing, because plenty of white assholes do it all the fucking time.
Well, there's never been a cocky
them.
filmmaker, thank Christ.
Wait, sorry, say that again?
I was saying, thank God there's just never been any cocky filmmakers out there.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and so I'm a fan of Taika's still. I'm not.
Well, I also think it's like opinions kind of change. Like people were really excited about Thor Ragnarok when it came out, and then it's also one of those ones where it's like, you going back to it, it's not as good. And I think a lot of the MCU is in that position right now. I think like Endgame is kind of like retroactively poisoned a lot of the MCU. Which is so weird to say considering how well Endgame did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it hasn't left a bad taste in everyone's mouth, but it's kind of like, did anything before it matter, like...
Yeah, cause I know a lot of people in the real world that are still like, oh, they're still doing those? I thought it ended.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh shit, they didn't like prepare for this.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, arguably a good thing in the long run. We'll see.
Except for Spider-Man No Way Home, which made almost $2 billion somehow.
Here's the thing, and this does kind of relate to Star Wars. There's a fucking dog barking outside, and it's not mine. So
that's
someone's
all right. I got
getting
birds
a phone call.
outside,
No, it's fine. It's fine. I love dogs, but I think characters like Batman and Spider-Man, especially in like the recent viewing of Matt Reeves' The Batman, which we also talked about. It really shows like the power of those characters as like,
oh, absolutely, yeah,
like genuinely being like cultural touchstones and icons in ways that Ant-Man, a movie I like, just isn't ever going to be. And that's
fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of them are just going to stand test of time longer, and then other people are like, a Black Widow movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Star Wars kind of has that power too. When you flood the marketplace with TV shows constantly, it starts diluting that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Or a lot of it. As we saw with the films. They made 5 movies in 4 years. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think people are still discovering slowly that they made a Han Solo film. And that's a movie that, in a way, has a cult following, which is weird to say about a Star Wars movie.
I know, that's so strange that it's like there's a certain band. But, I mean, like, good for them if you like that movie.
Yeah, there are dozens of us. Mm-hmm. It is a little boring by the end. But, I don't know, like, the energy of that movie, you're totally right. It could be captured in the show, and all these other shows that they got coming out. They got, like, an Ahsoka show coming out. With Dave Filoni running it, of course, because that's his character.
That's like his. I mean, Ahsoka's like his child, basically. Like...
Yeah. And let's see what. Okay, the Cassian Andor show, which is gonna be like a spy show. It's run by Tony fucking Gilroy, which is like.
Oh yeah, which is so strange.
What's he doing in Star Wars land?
But didn't he already like bounce? Like, didn't he like he created it? He was on board, and then he's like, I have to step away. Like, he's already kind of out.
Oh, he might be, yeah.
I think something like that happened.
No. Gilroy wasn't able to direct.
Oh, okay.
He still show ran the show. There was someone named Stephen Schiff who became showrunner initially, and then Schiff was replaced by Rogue One co-writer Tony Gilroy as creator and showrunner in April 2020.
Okay. All right.
So it's like... that dude just keeps going back. It's funny because, like, you hear him talk about Rogue One. He's like, yeah, I came in to clean up the mess.
Yeah.
I didn't really care about it that much. It was a paycheck job. And it's like, well, just when he thinks he's out, they pull him back in.
Where is Gareth Edwards? I want to see another thing from Gareth Edwards.
Oh, speaking of which, he is reteaming with his Rogue One cinematographer, my fucking boy, Greg Fraser. Just fucking shot the shit out of the Batman and Dune. They reteamed on like a smaller movie, he said, and I think it just wrapped like production a month ago or something.
Cool. So, I want to see it, whatever it is.
Yeah, me too. I have no idea, but that's a talented dude.
He lives and dies by his scripts a little bit, but he's a hell of a shooter. So I'm looking forward to whatever he does next.
Yeah.
And then is there anything? Oh yeah, fucking Kevin Feige's Star Wars project that we don't know anything about. That's out there in the winds.
Now, Kevin Feige, we should also mention, just said he returned from a like a company getaway trip with the upcoming showrunners and writers of the Marvel Cinematic Universe to plot out the next 10 years of Marvel stories.
He might be a little busy for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know any hearsay or anything like this, but is he just gonna like burn out at some point? Because like, look, I think we have to commend his abilities as a producer and a marketer, because his work is like legendary. Whether or not you like it or not is a different story. Like, I think he's good at his job that he's hired to do. And
unlike a lot of producers in Hollywood, you don't hear like terrible stories about him. You know,
yeah.
Like, he'll fire people, of course, but he's not like all those rumors about Harvey Weinstein before the other rumors were out about Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. The one thing I heard was when he did, like, apparently got noticeably, like, aggravated. And I feel comfortable saying this because it was when he had to defend his boy James Gunn behind the doors, because Disney was like, oh, we can't attached to any of that.
That's a moment to put the foot down.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? All right. It's just... all right.
Yeah, you know, I don't mean to defend a fucking rich guy, but... you know, it's interesting. The last I heard, there was like a rumor, and it seemed pretty credible for a minute, and then nothing was announced, that whatever Feige was producing, Chloe Zhao was going to direct that Star Wars thing. That
was definitely a rumor out there. I don't know how true that was, but that's when I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and as the Eternal defender, like... I'm all for it. Like, she totally... honestly, having seen Eternals, it feels like she's definitely more in the Star Wars wheelhouse than superhero wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Like, I think she could totally do it.
I think people... like, I think Rian Johnson was, like, is a hardcore, like, anime nerd. Like, he said Cowboy Bebop is one of his favorite fucking things ever, which makes perfect sense.
Yes.
And I think Chloe Zhao is also, like, an anime nerd. I think she fucking... like, said she used to write, like, fan fiction on AO3.
Hey, there you go.
And it's like, oh my god, it makes perfect sense. Like, that's a total weeb.
Based on, I think, what we're going to end up saying about this episode, maybe what Star Wars really does need is an injection of anime nonsense. Alright, we can get into the Book of Boba Fett finally.
Yeah, well, let's see what else. Wait. Do we skip over any other production? Oh, well, Ryan Johnson's maybe
Ryan
not
Johnson's,
series.
which I'm guessing right now is also going to be something that if it does happen, it's going to go to Disney Plus.
Yes.
Um,
I was going to mention some TV stuff, like opinions about the TV versus film debate, which shouldn't be the debate of different productions, but I can honestly talk about it with Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I should also mention the Lando show is still slated to come out.
There's a Lando. There's a lot of shit that has been announced. There's the what's the other one? The Acolytes or whatever.
Acolyte, yeah, which is a High Republic adjacent thing.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, we're gonna set it on Coruscant." When I heard that, I was like, "What?" And then like 50 years before the prequels, and I was like, "Oh fuck, it's a Palpatine show."
Palpatine's behind it all.
Yeah, it's totally a Palpatine show. I have nothing to confirm that officially. That's my theory. And
yeah, if there's a guy I just don't want to learn anything more about, it's fucking Palpatine.
Yeah,
but
like he's just a dude who likes being evil. I got it. He's imperialism and capitalism.
He's so evil he laughs as he does evil things.
Yeah, like that's all you need. Whatever. Okay, moving on. Book of Boba Fett. Matt, did you like it?
All right. So when I texted Diego like a few days ago, when everything was calm and good in the universe, I said, "Hey, May the 4th's coming up. Do we still want to do something for Star Wars?" And Diego was like, "Fuck, do we have time?" And I was like, "You know what? Like, I don't have anything happening on whatever day it was. I will just fucking shotgun the whole Book of Boba Fett in one sitting." And I had heard mixed things. I wasn't really sure what to expect. I knew some of the twists later in it. I kind of sat down expecting to do other things while I was watching it. And I gotta say, more so especially than The Mandalorian, it like hooked me from the get-go. I thought like the first episode I was like all in. And I really liked the non-linear story going on. I liked what was happening. I'm not a guy I don't give a flying fuck about Boba Fett. I was interested. And I really, really enjoyed it for the first 4 episodes. When it was about Boba Fett. And then it stopped being about Boba Fett. And you know what? It wasn't like the worst thing ever. Like, it wasn't awful, but it shifted in what it was. And I wasn't as into the other thing, you know? Mm-hmm. That's all, really. I don't, like, I can go more into it, but, I recommend the first 4 episodes, I guess. And then, whatever. What did you think of the Book of Boba Fett?
I liked it about as much as I liked my favorite Mandalorian stuff. Mm-hmm. I have been very open about going to bat for a lot of the directors that have been able to showcase their talent, the cast, which are generally very good. What's her face died on the way back to her home planet, so she won't be in Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah.
Good fucking riddance. I love Tamora Morrison getting a chance to be like an action star in his later years. I think he's always just been like a talented presence. He's Aquaman's dad, which fucking rocks. Mm-hmm. Ming-Na Wen is great.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Fucking assassinate me. Fucking. Oh my god. Maybe that was a big reason I like these first 4 episodes.
I mean, maybe.
Wow.
I liked. I'm gonna be a fucking shill and be like, I liked the cameos until the later half of the show, and by cameos I really mean Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
My fucking boy from Justified, Raylan Givens.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot to this show though.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's not nearly as ambitious as it could be, you know?
And I feel that it's... Here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people say, including my podcast that I listened to earlier that I was describing. A lot of people have said, I think Star Wars' new home is on television. I think Star Wars storytelling in television is vastly superior to the films. To which I say, what the fuck are you all talking about? None of you ever say that again. Holy shit. I'm sorry. Opinions are subjective. Subjectively, that's the worst thing I've ever fucking heard in my entire life. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? What could you possibly mean by that? I don't understand. I'm sorry. The volume is groundbreaking technology, and at times it looks incredible and makes me constantly think, wow, we really can do anything we put our minds to now with this art form. It's incredible. It's wondrous. It's awe-inspiring. And other times I'm like, holy fucking shit. That's why these are all set on Tatooine, because you don't have the fucking budget to make anything else look good. Sorry. It's like very upsetting.
I might have to disagree a little bit on how I thought the show actually looked really good. I thought, in a way that The Mandalorian never really did for me, it kind of justified this weird, like, let's go back to kind of the original trilogy aesthetic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of has this cool thing of, like, you know, and it's more of a nerd thing. It's not, like, something that appeals to, like, someone who maybe isn't a Star Wars fan, but, like, what if we got to see the old Star Wars world with effects from today, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I honestly thought the show looked really good. I thought The Mandalorian had a lot of cheapness to it. I didn't feel it as much. Now, maybe it is because a lot of it is set on Tatooine. But the first part of Episode 5, Return of the Mandalorian, when it's on that, like, disk planet, I thought that ring world, I thought that looked really good, honestly. It maybe a little later it falls off in, like, the last few episodes.
Yeah, by then they're throwing in, like, a Rancor and shit. And
yeah.
Look, here's the thing. I'm fucking being harsh on it, because I don't want Star Wars to just be television, and I don't think it looks up to par with stuff of recent Star Wars films, like even Rogue One and Solo and Rise of Skywalker, which are generally less well received
but those are
than
also,
the other two. Look,
epic.
The difference is television budgets do not have the bandwidth of movie budgets, and that's okay. But I think for Star Wars, you need it to kind of be the most expensive show on air at the moment. Which
was the problem Lucas ran into when he kept trying to produce his own Star Wars show.
Yeah. Smart guy, that Lucas.
Well, he kept trying to, like, it turned out, like, a single episode would cost as much as a movie, at least back then. They're not that expensive now, but it's still, isn't it like $10 million an episode or something crazy like that?
I think it's like 10 to 15 million an episode, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, yeah.
The same budget as something like The Morning Show, which is shocking to me, because I've seen ads for that show, and I'm like, where's that money going? Apologies to anyone who likes The Morning Show.
It's probably going to actors who, like, can still kind of be like, I'm a movie star, I'm slumming it in television. Or on streaming, you know, you still have to kind of force people to do streaming shows.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know. I thought, I liked it. Like I said, I think it lacked some ambition to it. I liked the setup of Boba Fett. He's turned over a new leaf. He's not going to be the ruthless assassin anymore. He's going to take over for Jabba. And, like, trying to get the different factions in order, you know?
You're gonna hate me for this, but I loved that too. I actually think it's a fascinating premise to take this character through. It totally reminded me of, like, Mass Effect. Like, you gotta, like, get all the different coalitions together.
I would probably agree with that. I think a problem is that they kind of... I think when you explained to me that this might be just a downgraded season of The Mandalorian that they had to scramble to make because of COVID... a lot of it started to make a lot more sense to me, you know? And I think a big problem here is that they picked their endpoint when they started it, you know?
Yeah.
So, because, like, you keep getting introduced to, like, you know, there's like, oh, this is an interesting character, this is an interesting thing, there's these different factions are interesting. It's, like, ramping up, and then at the end of 4, it's like, okay, everyone's on the same page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know if I don't think so. I'm not as cool with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I like I said, I liked it, but also, like, going in depth on Boba Fett's character, and I think that's just been a problem with a lot of the Star Wars shows, is that it feels like they made their decision about how it was going to end before they started it, you know?
Mm-hmm. You had a very insightful tweet recently about how The Mandalorian is, like, you know, it's about a bounty hunter.
Well, you know, what I said was that it's crazy. There are essentially two series on Disney Plus that are about bounty hunters. One starring Boba Fett, one starring someone who is Boba Fett in everything but name, and neither show is about bounty hunting, really. Like, and it just, like, be like, okay, you got a new target each episode. Like, that seems like such a simple setup, you know?
I know. I think it's part of the problem with, like, the prestige television approach.
Well, it's the prestige television thing, which everyone's doing wrong. They're all trying to be Breaking Bad, and everyone who's ever worked on Breaking Bad has admitted they were making that shit up as they were going along. Like,
yeah, that's why it fucking rocks.
There's that, and there's also the weird streaming model. One thing that I kind of hated, especially about the first season of The Mandalorian, is that it felt like every episode started with the third act of the last episode, and then only had Act 1 and Act 2, and then it would end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, this is to get people to binge watch it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which didn't make sense for Disney Plus, because Disney Plus was releasing them, like, week to week, which just made it frustrating. It's part of the reason why The Mandalorian never kind of hooked me. And another thing I liked about the Book of Boba Fett is that every episode felt contained. Again, I would like a show where it's just about bounty hunting. But for what it was like, okay, there's an arc to each episode. And I thought they threaded that needle really well. Whereas Mandalorian, I couldn't tell you... I could tell you the broad strokes of the season. I couldn't tell you, like, an individual episode, you know?
I could tell... let me see. I could tell you the episodes. In fact, I think the structure is better in place for the individual episodes of The Mandalorian. It's just that Boba Fett kind of threads all that better until the Mandalorian stuff comes in later.
The Mandalorian of it all
here's the
comes
thing.
back.
I wouldn't even say the Mandalorian stuff that comes in is bad. It's just like, I wasn't watching that show. Why is that my show now?
That's what it kind of was. I will say, well, to jump ahead, I'll talk about that episode first. What was that?
I don't know. I heard that too. That was weird.
That was strange. What the fuck was that?
I don't know. Should I keep that in the episode?
I guess. I don't know what that was.
In case we're murdered or go missing, anyone. Follow that noise.
All right. Return of the Mandalorian. Which is the Bryce Dallas Howard directed episode. And I think she did a very good job. I hated the first part of that episode, like, so much. Because it's, like, all Mandalorian. Like, not even just the Mandalorian. It's all, like, Mandalorian lore nonsense that I've just never cared for. And at this point, like, I can't keep up with. Like, I don't know what is what with the Mandalorians anymore. Because it's changed so many times. And it's that problem, I think part of the reason why, because I think this got, like, a mixed reception from fans. I think part of the problem is that Boba Fett is such a, like, blank character that you can project whatever you want onto him. And then if you start defining him, it, like, clashes with what people want from the character. Whereas I thought the Mandalorian show was, like, a weird, like, stopgap, being like, okay, we can't do Boba Fett, so let's just make up our own Mandalorian and we can do whatever we want. And then they brought Boba Fett back anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, like, I hated all that stuff with the Darksaber. I hated, like, it was just so boring. But when he goes to, wherever the fuck he ended up, and he gets the old, he's on Tatooine and he gets the old, oh god, what's that planet called? Naboo Starfighter.
There you go.
Like, that's been all fucked up. Like, I like that part of the episode a lot. Where it's just the Mandalorian, like, flying the ship and, like, them working on it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was fun. It was, like, this little self-contained story. I didn't like the lore dumps. And that ends up being a problem for the last few episodes, where like a chunk of it feels like a lore dump, and then the rest of it is an episode.
I want to talk about my problems with the next episode, but I also want to go to bat for the Return of the Mandalorian episode, because here's the thing: I actually think it's in a bubble. I think it's actually a pretty strong episode. Again, it's just its connection to this series, the Boba Fett miniseries, is baffling at best, and retroactively, these final 3 episodes, all the Mandalorian stuff in it, fuck up any remaining goodwill I had from the end of season 2 of the Mandalorian.
Really?
Because it also it cuts off like all the dramatic tension. The dramatic tension of the finale of season 2 is actually really, really good in my opinion. It's like he's protected this kid who's grown to love so much, and he has to say goodbye so he can potentially have a better future. And it's like this incredibly human moving moment, and then in the corner you have fucking dead-eyed robot Luke Skywalker, and I'm just like, why the fuck is that here? But the moment where like the baby Yoda's like touching his face and they're saying goodbye, like that is so good to me. Anyways, I was really moved by that, and it was just so anger inducing as I was watching like Luke Skywalker fans jerk off to him getting really violent and being like,
that's totally redeemed.
This is my Luke Skywalker. And it's like, you're a fucking 40-year-old man with kids. Like, shut the fuck up.
Well, like
sorry.
I think I've made my point about that, where it's like, I'm like, that's fine. Like, I'm a nerd. Like, that's fun to see Luke Skywalker come in and like fuck some people up. Like, that's fine. But like the weird like he's been redeemed was the problem I had.
Yeah, and like, you know, in hindsight,
he didn't do anything.
And in hindsight too, it's like, oh, this also further solidifies his arc in The Last Jedi, because it's like he's starting to become colder, you know. So, suck my dick, nerds. Yeah, I did not like the appearance of Luke Skywalker in this.
Yeah, and this was worse than it was on The Mandalorian.
It's bad. It's so bad.
It's so bad. I mean, like, I'm not like super angry, because like, again, nothing really happens. Like, it's just them like standing around training, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's no like all my anger at the dramatic release of tension from The Mandalorian season 2 is just that this is Mandalorian story stuff.
Yeah.
It's in this show because they're trying to build like a shared universe of television programs. And that's it. None of this like is actually like built upon in this individual show we're watching. And then furthermore, the end of season 2 of Mandalorian has this fascinating conflict with not only just him letting Baby Yoda go with Luke, but also like, oh shit, the Mandalorians that you were working with and you become close with, now there's conflict between you two, because now the Mandalorian, whose name I also forget all the time, so I'm gonna keep referring to him as the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's a dumb name.
It's all so ridiculous. Which is part of the fun, but then, you know, you run into trouble like this, you try to explain it. And, you know, him and Battlestar Galactica lady, they're going to be in conflict now, because now he has the right to lead the Mandalorian. And it's like, it's ridiculous, but I kind of like that conflict. And then, oh no, now they've got Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. What are they going to do with him? Are they going to keep him imprisoned? Do they have to, like, team up to, like, rebuild the Mandalorian Creed or whatever? And it's like, there's all these fascinating threads.
Oh, did he just die off camera? Is that what they were implying? Like,
I don't know. I hope not. Because that actor said, like, oh, if you thought season 1 was good, wait till we get to season 3 and 4. So I guess he's in them still.
Yeah, like I said, it's probably just a weird stopgap of the COVID thing. But like, I didn't give a fuck about the Darksaber, or because like they've also done the Darksaber thing at this point has been done too many times. Like, it's not that interesting to me. But yeah, it was weird. It was like,
really quick, I want to say, like, to your start-stop thing too, that's also such a problem with like the Filoni like canon, which I'll refer to just to this is nothing against him, but it's like all the Darksaber stuff in Clone Wars, I'm like, oh, this is kind of the shit. And I'm like, oh, it comes back in Rebels, how did it get there? Ah, well, we'll kind of hand wave it away. There's kind of an explanation, not really. Okay, whatever. Then it pops up again here, and I'm like, all right, hold the fuck on. Like, this is like, the third time is not the charm, dude.
Yeah, Filoni's doing this thing where it's like, I kind of admire it, of like he's carving out kind of his own universe within Star Wars, you know? Like, he brings back the same characters, same threads, all that stuff. But it's getting a little wonky, and I think... I don't want to be mean to Dave Filoni, because, like, I really appreciate his work, but I wish he kind of just stayed in the animated universe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that seems to be a better wheelhouse for him.
And I'll say, I think he's vastly improved as a director. He directed the first episode of The Mandalorian, which I thought was just, like, awful. And then he did the first reintroduction of Tatooine episode in that first season. And I was like, holy fuck, this dude. I'm sorry. Thank you for keeping Star Wars fandom afloat for a while, but stop. And then
I'm just saying,
then I think he's improved. And it
seems like he has his own interests, and I wish they would just give him a stage to do that, as opposed to... You're going to be, like, third build on the Robert Rodriguez-directed, Jon Favreau-written Star Wars show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a weird... And I feel like... What's with Jon Favreau? Is he, like, jockeying to kind of be the Star Wars guy now? Like...
I don't know. I think so. And I can totally understand, because it's fucking Star Wars, so I think anyone who, you know, let they without sin cast the first stone... Because I think we'd all kind of, at least most of us would do that.
We
and
absolutely
I totally
would.
get it. Mm-hmm. That dude needs a fucking writer's room so bad.
Yeah, he needs...
Oh my god.
And it's, I don't know, it's... His writing's not the best.
I mean, it's kind of the George Lucas thing, which I don't completely agree with anymore, but when people would say, like, oh, he's a great idea, man. He needs someone to get his ideas onto paper. I think you could have someone help solidify his ideas on paper.
But I also think Favreau's a little out of step with what Star Wars has evolved into, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the Star Wars shows kind of feel like they're doing circles around the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to become their own thing, really. Which was the brilliance of the Dave Filoni animated shows, is that they kind of just went in their own direction at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see more of that with something like the Book of Boba Fett, but it's like, not only did they tie it back down, it's like they dragged it back with, like, Ahsoka's here, and R2-D2, and Luke, and the fucking child, and we had Cad Bane show up. Like,
oh, yeah. I saw people criticizing the look of that, and it's like, as the one guy who was just going fucking hard on how I think the show doesn't look that good, and Star Wars doesn't look that good.
I didn't mind how Cad Bane looked.
No, it was fucking good. Like, whatever. He doesn't look exactly 1-to-1 to his animated counterpart, but, like, do you see what they were capable of? Like, that's impressive to me. You know?
But, and also, like, I mean, doesn't look 1-to-1 to their animated counterpart. Fucking, like, did you think Obi-Wan and Anakin on the Clone Wars looked at all like their film counterparts? Like, I mean,
it's like my response to that has always been like, well, you know, it's like animated, like, ownership. It's giving them little exaggerated features, and also I'm sure it was cheaper to animate them that way.
Yeah,
like, I'm sure that's the reality of it.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. Like,
yeah, there's nothing wrong
totally
with that.
Develop your own style when you do that. I would be annoyed if Star Wars had, like, a house style that's like, all the movies have to look like this, all the cartoons have to look like this, all the comic books have to look like this, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, also, remember when everyone complained about, like, the kids on the swoop bikes or whatever they were?
Yeah, the American Graffiti kids.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about? Like, that was cool.
I don't know.
Also, that chase, I don't know what they did, but a lot of that looked in camera. Like, that chase looked really good.
That was Rodriguez episode, right?
Yeah,
the Streets of Mos Espa.
Yes, it's the one of, like, 3 he directed.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I gotta be honest, I was less keen on that first episode than you were. That third episode, I was like, all right, that's Rodriguez.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't tell you, like, I was just so into... I don't know, it got me from the start, which I really wasn't expecting. I liked the kind of parallel stories going on, and I liked Boba Fett kind of being taken in by the Tusken Raiders. Now, there's a little bit of weird, like, noble savage stuff going on here.
Yeah.
it's a little odd. You can kind of get away with it because none of this stuff is real, but it is kind of reliving like weird white guy fantasies.
No, it totally is. It's kind of like why Avatar is still like, you know, kind of problematic, even though it's like a science fiction fantasy adventure movie.
Yeah,
it's also like no. It is doing noble savage bullshit and dances with wolves. Like, people's criticisms about that are not incorrect. How they're utilizing those criticisms is incorrect, I would argue. But here, I'm glad you brought that up, because I have some weird feelings about how Jon Favreau uses aliens in these series. They're always like monsters or like antagonists, and like,
yeah,
and I don't know. It's like it's part of my problem with like Star Trek a lot of the time now too.
Yeah, Star Trek has that problem too.
And it's like it's supposed to be about like these communal experiences, and what better way to show like communal adventures than to have like a different race and
it's the more humanoid the aliens are, the more human they behave, you know.
Yeah,
like,
and it's very strange to me. I'm not a fan of it, frankly. Like, I don't need the Hutts to be high-fiving Boba Fett or anything like that, but
yeah. I did like the twins. That was kind of funny. I didn't expect that.
Oh no, I like that stuff. Yeah.
And I do like the Wookiee they have.
Oh, that dude's awesome.
Yeah, I hope he does more, in some way.
Yeah, just bring him back.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Stephen Root, who was in this.
Oh
show.
yeah, we had like one scene.
Yeah.
Another guy who should they should just make him a mainstay. Like, fuck it.
Is he like okay? Because I started the new season of Barry, which is fantastic. Horrendously depressing this season, but it's great. Stephen Root has only been in one episode or one scene of that show so far this season too. So,
well,
I think
think
he's okay.
He did kind of leave where he left off at the end of season 2. I get why he wouldn't be in a ton of it.
Yeah.
But
I was like,
he was in. He had one scene in fucking The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Right.
And he's doing a lot in that scene. He's like running around, like acting like he's like bumbling, kinda. So he had a lot of energy for that. I hope he's all right.
Yeah.
Be well wherever you are.
We do have to remember these are all COVID shoots, so I'm sure everyone's like. And also, the 3 separate things we just mentioned that he was in were filmed on different countries, sometimes different continents. So, you know.
That's because he just appears anywhere.
Yeah,
like
he can just do that.
Like I said, it's a wild. I did not like. I almost had to pause The Tragedy of Macbeth because I was laughing so hard when I realized it was Stephen Root.
God, what a fucking movie!
That was a good movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I like that stuff.
Let's see what else. But I don't know. I kind of went hard on the criticisms about it, but I really did like have a lot more fun with this than I expected to.
Yeah, and like
I saw
said,
people, even people that were like in the bag for the Star Wars TV shows, being like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah, here's what I would say. This is the way I kind of rank Star Wars stuff. It's like, would I recommend it to someone who isn't into Star Wars? I probably wouldn't do that for the Book of Boba Fett. Now, if you are someone who likes Star Wars, maybe you're not like super into it, but you like it, I would recommend the first 4 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. If you're willing to go deeper, the rest isn't like a train wreck, but it's just less interesting. And I think it's important to just know going in that the first 4 episodes are basically a different show. So,
I thought the finale was tons of fun.
It was fun.
It does do that thing where like this happens with a lot of like spectacle oriented stuff, where like the actual like interesting drama of it is over, but you have to finish the physical action climax, and it's just, you know, it totally fizzles. Like it ends with like a Kingdom Hearts hero shot. I saw someone mention on Twitter one time. It's like all the friends rally around the town square with Sora, Goofy, and Donald, and then the camera pans up and you go on to the next world. You know, that's totally what it felt like.
And I will say, I could kind of understand. Like, I don't want to like give too much to fanboyism, but I could maybe understand being a little frustrated that like this is a show, it stars Boba Fett, and they basically sand the edges off of Boba Fett, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, this is literally a story with, like, if we're following, like, the Joseph Campbell, you know, hero journey, it's a story that starts with him in the belly of the whale, you know? Mm-hmm. And he goes through a metamorphosis, like, right after. And he meets a goddess who will assist him and shit like that. Like, a lot of that happens. And I could see maybe if you wanted, like, a Boba Fett who, like, didn't give a fuck about people, you know? Like, Boba Fett who walks into a bar and just, like, the guy's like, we have to negotiate, and then, like, Arnold in Commando just goes wrong and shoots him in the head or something. I could maybe understand that frustration. But if you're willing to approach it and just be like, whatever you got, just show it to me, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone still. I gotta be honest. Even other Star Wars fans would be like, no, if you're, like, super into Mandalorian stuff, then sure. But,
like I said,
also worth noting,
first 4 episodes is what I'm really standing by.
Okay.
I think those first 4 are really good.
Also worth noting 2 things. One, that the finale does also essentially retcon the ending of season 2. Well, not retcon, it undoes the finale of Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. And so next season it's like, you have to watch Book of Boba Fett now, which is just shit I hate now.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
done with that.
And that feels like what they're trying to do more and more of with the Star Wars shows, which will just get frustrating.
Yeah, so I don't, like I mentioned, I'm probably not going to tune into Obi-Wan. God bless Ewan McGregor, but
I will.
Sorry.
I will eventually, but I'm also somewhere it's like, part of the reason why I didn't watch any of this, like why I didn't watch this when it was airing, is because I don't, like, just give me every episode. Like, I don't want to. I also was expecting the Mandalorian thing of it kind of being built for streaming, whereas the Book of Boba Fett didn't really have that. Mm-hmm. I would have watched it had I known the individual episodes kind of stood on their own. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I get it. I'm gonna wait and see with Obi-Wan. I'm not super interested in what happens with Obi-Wan Kenobi. But hey, we will see.
Yeah, I just have one more thing about Jon Favreau, who I am a fan of, but I have questions about. The Jon Favreau, the Mandalorian's creator and showrunner, soon clarified that the Book of Boba Fett was its own separate series from the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. He explained the spin-off was not announced by Kathleen Kennedy at Investor Day because they did not want to spoil the surprise of the reveal at the end of Chapter 16, The Rescue, which I call bullshit on because that's there's nothing to spoil. Like, you wouldn't assume Luke Skywalker is in the Book of Boba Fett or the Mandalorian. So what were you hiding? There's nothing to hide.
I thought that last episode of The Mandalorian kind of had like a post-credits thing that was just Boba Fett sitting down and it said, The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
like,
but like...
Maybe that's what he meant?
Maybe. Get a writer's room, dude. You can do it. It'll help you. It'll make you look better.
Here's what you do. Even if you don't want to write his room, trust your characters a little bit, man. Like, be like, just don't pick these endings before you start writing, I guess is my frustration. And that's got to be really difficult for a Star Wars show where there's so many moving parts. But it's one of those things where it's like, who your character ends up becoming, he might not make the decision you originally wanted to end the season with. And that's been a big problem. It's just I don't feel these shows being character driven enough, and a show should especially be character driven.
The production referred to each episode of the Book of Boba Fett as if it was the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. For example, the first episode was referred to as 301 rather than the typical 101 for a series' first episode. You fucking people. Sorry. Again, there's nothing even wrong with that. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I get
That's
it.
all. Sorry.
Yeah, just, do a little better.
Yeah. Robert Rodriguez, I hope this works out so we get Alita Battle Angel 2.
Yeah. It feels like he might have put some Alita ideas in some of the episodes with the cyborg kids.
Yeah. I liked all those guys, by the way.
Yeah, they were fun. I bet you people hated them because they're young.
Probably. Yeah, they're like, what are kids doing in Star Wars? Mm-hmm. Is this the woke agenda?
Is this the woke agenda that is running the country right now, clearly?
Yeah. These fucking liberals with their blue hair.
Yeah.
And their robot arms.
I didn't understand why Matrix 4 sucked. Then I saw a picture of its director. Do you remember that one?
Say that? Someone probably said that, huh?
No, someone really said that, and then the person was like, "Buddy, I hate to break it to you about who made the first one."
Owned.
But hey.
Okay. That's the Book of Boba Fett.
Speaking of young people shit, I guess let's talk about Star Wars Visions.
Is it young? Is it for babies?
Anime still has that stigma, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
It's going away, because like now when I go onto the YouTubes and I watch stuff that makes me feel very old, a lot of the younger influencers coming up are like very like open about their love of anime. So I think that anime shift is happening right now, in a way that kind of happened with video games when I was in high school, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, from at the beginning of high school, like, video games were still kind of a nerd thing, and then by the end it was, like, mainstream. So I just assume that's what's happening with anime right now. Not that older people will ever get on board with it. But
yeah, but they'll be dead eventually.
yeah, we all will.
Yeah,
anyway,
but, like, sooner than us, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Who knows?
We watched Star Wars Visions. Bega, what'd you think?
Matt, why is this the greatest thing ever?
I know, it's so fucking good.
It's
holy shit.
Even like moments of episodes or something I wasn't like crazy about. I was like, no, this is exactly what like not just Star Wars needs, but like art.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we should be doing. You know? Like, let me get my one big criticism out of the way. I hate that they went out of their way to say like, oh yeah, the stuff that happens here isn't canon. It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, you know what? I'm fine with that. Like, let it not be canon, whatever. I don't care. Like, it's fine. I don't ever need to see these characters. Although, I was kind of like, the fuck's gonna happen with Lop? Like, I wanted that one to come back. But, other than that, like, yeah, I get it. They're hedging their best. And it's a little sad that it's like, don't worry, guys, this stuff isn't canon, don't worry. And then it's, like, easily the best stuff they've done in a while. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, my complaint, to get it out of the way, is that because it's something like 9 episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Average of like 15 minutes, I would say. All done by different people, different styles, different characters, completely self-contained stories, basically. You do start to get the kind of repetitive nature of Star Wars, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is the challenge they will have going forward, to try and break that repetitiveness of just like how many episodes it's like, oh, here's a lightsaber duel, oh, here's a thing, oh, dark side, oh, this. But even with that like very basic formula, it still was very engaging and very good. So yeah, that's kind of my only real complaint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like blown away by like the specificity of like, you know, to take the title of the show, of like the artistic vision on display.
Yes.
Like, it really felt like, okay, I got like 15 minutes to tell this story. Let's tell it in the most like imaginative way possible with animation. And it was like invigorating.
It was. It kind of was. And I also did these like just one morning. I just woke up and watched all of them and did them like really quick. And it was so fucking good. I really love these.
Yeah, I watched this and Boba Fett in the same day, basically, and night. I did not get a lot of sleep before this, basically. And maybe that's why I'm a little harsher on Boba Fett too. Because I was like, this is what we should be doing.
Yeah,
and I think I've talked about it before.
If I had watched Visions before Boba Fett, I maybe wouldn't be as kind to Boba Fett.
Well, I think I've talked about it before, but I remember like my feeling when I first heard they were going to make new Star Wars stuff, and like people were like, oh, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett. And this isn't saying I'm superior to anyone else. This is just where my mind went at the time, right? Like, I thought like, oh, fuck, if you do like a Yoda story, you could do it like in stop motion animation. Oh, you can get like a Terrence Malick inspired like Jedi Quest story or something like that. Oh, we could bring in like animation from foreign companies and have them like experiment in like a new like saga style.
Is this the dream of the Animatrix, just a little more realized?
I think so.
Yeah, because this is what the Animatrix tried to do.
Yeah. interesting experiment for sure.
Yeah, I hope they do more.
They said they are doing another season of Visions, or they have not said it, but it's apparently like out there that they are.
Okay, I really hope, because like, yeah, it was just, especially in the wake of like Netflix basically like saying we're backing away from animation, which was like the one thing that was kind of consistently good at Netflix.
Yeah, all the animation stuff there, most of the animation stuff there is like really remarkable, and was apparently the thing that's even like bringing in subscribers. So I don't know what the fuck.
Here's the thing: Netflix is gonna, when Netflix dies, which will be very soon. It will be it'll be that thing where like, you know, like you can watch videos on YouTube now where it's like, why did Kmart go bankrupt? And like they go like, well, Kmart didn't anticipate the internet or something like that, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like stuff that seems obvious in hindsight. Netflix is going to be the first one that's like, this is what happened when everyone just started listening to algorithms.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Because right now an algorithm is telling like, produce more shows cheaper at a faster rate. And so it's like, well, to do that, we have to cut animation. But all they're going to end up doing is producing more stuff that is more forgettable, you know? Mm-hmm. When what Netflix really should do, but like, Netflix has to get a stranglehold on the culture the way Nintendo kind of has. Where like, Nintendo just always does their own thing, and it's, to get their games, you have to buy a Nintendo console, right? Mm-hmm. So they just got to have a bunch of homegrown franchises. They can't have the most games. They just have to have the most consistent quality games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they need to drop an A+ game every, 3 months, as opposed to the other consoles out there, which seem to get, games in the B to C range every week, you know? Mm-hmm. And if Netflix kind of did that, because they don't have these IPs to fall back on, they'd be doing a lot better, but it seems like they're pivoting in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, and apparently HBO is doing a lot better, because their original movies, for HBO Max anyways, and shows are they're all getting a lot of attention on social medias and stuff like that. So even algorithmically, their stuff is just working better because of quality control.
Well, also
which is something that apparently Netflix has nothing on. All these breakthrough reports happened recently, right? And they just have none of that in their facilities.
They just go to the algorithms, what does the algorithm say? And if they're algorithm says good, they're all right, and they don't even bother.
Yeah. Is the line going up?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
We're good.
It's cryptocurrency in a nutshell.
Yes. There's just this a fucking giant computer in the center of Netflix headquarters, and you have whoever's in charge of Netflix right now just walking up to it and doing a blood sacrifice. Should we get into NFTs? And it's
you go up,
yes.
You go up to Skynet and you're like, Skynet, what would be better for the future of the company? And then Skynet's make Skynet more powerful. And we're all right. That's exactly what's happening. Anyway, you know what I like though? I liked that the first episode was kind of like the guy's literally called a Ronin. It's straight up just samurai shit. Mm-hmm. And it also does the kind of edgelord shit of wait, this guy's not a Jedi, he's a former Sith, you know?
Yeah.
There's kind of a twist in there that I really like, and it was oh, that was cool. It's kind of like a riff on Seven Samurai. That's fun. Immediate next episode is about a Jedi Padawan who survived, and he joined a band. And I loved the shift. I was fuck yeah, this is exactly what you do. And then it was just this kid. It's his lightsaber doesn't even work, so he turned it into a microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, and your boy Bobby Moynihan did a voice in that one.
I know.
Yeah.
My
Part of
TLJ
me wishes
brother.
I had watched all of it in Japanese though. I didn't think of that until I basically finished. Mm-hmm. But they had some good Lucy Liu's in the first one.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah, I don't know. I was, and then we got into the twins episode, which are the twins who were both made using the evil of dark magic and shit, mm-hmm. which I just loved. And then they're fighting in space without masks on, and I'm fuck yeah, why not? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, animation really is just an opportunity to experiment with like the visual and audio arts like to their maximum potential. You know, like you can just do anything there.
Yeah.
With a set of boundaries you set yourself, but it was like awe-inspiring to watch all this shit.
Yeah, it was just so fun. It was just, even the episodes that like ended on downer notes, like it was just invigorating to the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a favorite?
Fuck. Either the Ninth Jedi or Lop and Ocho.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
what
I
about
might have liked the Village Bride the most.
Okay.
Just because I think there's one thing the sequel trilogy really dropped the ball on. It was kind of like a romance angle to it.
Just the one, huh?
And
sorry.
But there was a lot of like romanticism in the Village Bride episode that I really appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I mean, Star Wars has like an air of romance in it, or it should, in my opinion, and which is why I think I'm also not super into the shows. They're very sexless.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's just stuff you can kind of get away with in animation too. Yeah, it's also this thing of like part of what I'm just annoyed with the live action TV shows is that they're being live action for like an air of credibility to it, you know? Like, no, this is serious shit. It's live action. And I have yet to see anything on the live action shows that didn't make me go, this could have just been a cartoon.
Yeah.
Whereas Visions, it's like, this had to be a cartoon, not because of the subject matter, just because of the visual style. Like, just the boundaries it's really pushing. Some of it you just couldn't do in live action. And if you were to try, it would look kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's one episode here that's straight up just like Astro Boy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's what it was.
Did you watch Astro Boy? Like any versions of Astro Boy?
I've seen a few, but nothing like consistent.
Okay, yeah, no, me neither. I remember there was a cartoon airing like in the early 2000s, but I missed that.
And then Adult Swim for like a month like aired a bunch of Astro Boy episodes. What is the Lop? What is her species named?
I'm looking it up right now. It's not on the Wikipedia, I don't think.
Wikipedia?
No, you know what? There you go. Lop. Wikipedia. Let's see.
A Leppy.
A Leppy, yeah.
Yes. Which is like that green guy, because that's that thing in the Marvel comics. I'm sure you know this, that it comes all the way back from the Marvel comic era. That there was like a stupid green rabbit that looked like Bugs Bunny.
I did not know that, actually.
Oh, you didn't? Well, if you go to the Leppy Wikipedia page, that is the character. And Jackson, spelled with 2 X's.
Ah, I see.
And he's one of those characters where, like, for a long time, they just tried to ignore that he ever existed. And, like, lately, they've been like, just fucking bring him back. Who cares?
I'm reading the Jackson quote to Lando Calrissian, and I just hear the Bugs Bunny voice in my head now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Leppy, Doc.
Yeah, exactly. My thing is that, like, if they ever tried to do that character live action, it would be like, the furries are taking over Star Wars. Which I feel like is a day that's coming. Even though Wookiees have been there from the start. But hey.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, what the fuck? George Lucas has probably got some weird shit going on in his head.
Definitely. But, you know, it's going to be like that thing where, like, everyone got confused about the bunny from fucking Zootopia.
I don't know about everyone.
You don't remember how fucking weird everyone was online for about a month?
I think it lasted longer than a month, but it was weird, yeah.
I'm just saying it was very pronounced for a month.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, okay, that I didn't know that, and that's kind of what I want out of Star Wars, you know? We've talked about that with the sequel trilogy, too. Like, don't spend time retroactively trying to over-justify or explain away or retcon stuff that nerds didn't like. Like, it's all part of the same tapestry. Just use it to tell a story in the future. If you're telling a sequel story to the sequels, that's what should be done. You know?
Also, it's just funny when you watch it being like, here's clearly, like, the one thing this person who made this episode latched onto and is like, hey, I have an idea to take this, like, small piece of mythology and do something with it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and it's also kind of one of these things where, like, you can already feel how The Last Jedi is just going to get cemented in the foundation of Star Wars one of these days, where the twins, they just straight up took the shot of the X-Wing going through hyperspace to split the ship in half.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just did it because of course you'd be attracted to that image.
Yeah.
And it's not done in any sort of stupid way to like Haldo maneuvers or whatever the fuck they said of Rise of Skywalker. But it's just dumb because like that person like clearly latched onto that and wanted to do something with that. And yeah, it's exciting, and it's clear that just there's no oversight. Probably because of the lack of, like, official canon. Although I am worried about one day where someone goes, like, hey, I'm going to take something from Visions and put it in the movie, and then there's going to be a fight about royalties, you know? Because, I mean, of course Lucasfilm probably owns 100% of what happened here. Like...
Yeah, I think, especially in regards to the Disney brand, it's not really up to the people who like create the original stories. It's like, well, you made a Star Wars thing, here's your contract for what you were paid for, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
You know, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But on a more positive note, regarding the Last Jedi stuff too, did you see what they were building in the Luke episode that we both were upset at?
You know what? I missed it. What were they building?
They're building the temple that Kylo Ren will eventually destroy, so it's like they're doubling down. And you know,
okay.
For all the shit I'm given that the weird Luke shit just keeps popping up in these fucking shows, they're doubling down on the right stuff.
I will say, I had an idea while I was watching. This is a total fan fiction. And I don't know what has been established in canon at this point, but it could easily be ignored. Watching the 9th Jedi episode, which does that thing where it's like, actually, these lightsabers, their color will be revealed like by the user, right? Mm-hmm. Which is something I've always kind of like wanted them to do with, whereas it's directly contradicts like the first episode where it's red crystals make red lightsabers.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with that, like, fine. Like, and so there's like the big reveal in it where it's like, oh, those guys were Sith the whole time because they all got red lightsabers. And like, I did love the Visions, just every episode kind of doubled down that red just equals evil no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of loved that. I kind of got this idea in my head of like, what if Luke is at the Jedi Temple, like, training people, you know? Mm-hmm. And he's, like, passing a lightsaber around, and it's going to be a different color for each of the people he's training, and it gets to Kylo, and in that moment, it's, like, it's a red lightsaber.
Oh.
And it can kind of, like, set up, like, oh, Luke, like, knows that he's got a problem, but Luke, like, thinks he can change him because of, he changed his father, you know? Mm-hmm. And maybe Kylo doesn't want to be changed. And you can do a lot with that. I just got, like, that'd be an interesting visual to play with.
Yeah. There you go. Fucking. Yeah, I don't know. I just got a lot of respect for all of that. And,
I think Bob Dylan said, the highest purpose of art is to inspire. And I think Visions is very inspiring, both as an animation fan and as a Star Wars fan. In a way that the Book of Boba Fett wasn't exactly inspiring.
Yeah.
Occasional visual moments, but not so much in the terms of story.
Yeah, and even the stuff that I loved from Boba Fett and Mandalorian regarding like their technical prowess, Visions kind of just has it like over the moon at this point.
Yeah, just mops the floor with them.
Yeah. I hope it gets a physical release at some point. I'd love
that'd be cool too.
Like
probably won't happen.
A leather-bound book holding a Blu-ray set or something, you know?
Yeah, and it costs $500.
Wait, what?
No, I'm just saying. Like,
my God,
I feel like that's gonna be the future of physical media.
Oh.
Of like, I would really like if the season of television that's streamed, if it got a physical release, and then like, fucking Mickey Mouse comes out and he's like, "Oh, you can have it, but it's $6,000." And then it's like, okay, Mickey.
But the algorithm says I have to keep raising the prices. Oh!
Yep. It's like the only way we can justify the cost of making a few 4K discs is to make 100 times on our investment.
Jesus.
That's just going to be the future of physical media. It's going to be only for weirdos like us. Feels good to be so reinvigorated by Star Wars.
Fucking, they did it. It can still do it.
But you know what kind of, honestly, I'm not even like doing this as just a segue, but the thing that kind of made me like go like, actually I kind of want to check out some of the Star Wars stuff going on, was my recent vacation to Disney World in Orlando, Florida.
Yay!
Like the week all those crazy people were like trying to shut down entrances to the park.
Oh.
Guess what? Didn't notice them at all the whole time I was there, so they didn't do a great job.
All right, yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them. But yeah, I went to fucking Star Wars Land.
And I too went to a Star Wars land. Apparently one that is smaller than the one you went to?
I think a little bit, just because of the space situation of Disneyland.
Yeah, we got to get these people out of their houses so they can add more Star Wars stuff.
Yes.
Just run them over.
Well, that's the whole reason. You know the whole thing with Disney World, right?
Oh, no.
Well, when Walt Disney built Disneyland, he only bought the land to build the park on. And so, of course, the moment Disneyland opened, a bunch of, like, cheap, like, the land value all around the park, like, shot up like crazy. And all these, like, cheap motels shot up, and that really annoyed Walt Disney. And so that's when he set up a bunch of corporations in Florida that didn't have his name on it to buy up as much land in Orlando as possible.
Yeah, he's like a villain from Chinatown.
A little bit, yeah. And it was all swampland, so people are like, who the fuck would want this? And so Disney World is kind of like him trying to get Disneyland right. So, like, the Magic Kingdom is built, like, in the middle, and, like, so no one can really construct anything around it. And it was, like, this autonomous, like, kind of city, basically, until recently, maybe. With all this shit kind of happening, but that's a whole other
See,
discussion.
that's what the third Chinatown movie should have been about. You got Chinatown, the Tale of Two Jakes, and then you got to have them go after Walt Disney.
I was actually kind of like inspired by the whole Disney World trip of just like there is kind of like a sinister element to all of Disney.
Oh no. I think we're both about to gush about the Disney theme park experience. Let it be known that it is still an evil corporation.
No, the corporation, yes, evil, but I'm talking about like the parks. Like there's something like weird because it's that thing of it's also why there's so many conspiracy theories around Disney, because the other thing Disney World did is that they built, because they couldn't like build directly into the swampland, there's basically an underground city beneath each theme park. And it's like all these like concrete corridors. They look like military bases, and it allows like workers to get around a lot easier than having to go through crowds and things. Something that Disneyland didn't account for. You know?
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like allegedly all that came from like opening day Disneyland. There was a cowboy in Tomorrowland, and like that upset Walt. So it's like I'll never make this mistake again. And the other thing with Disney World is that was also like. He's like, look, I'm building the park because I know people want the park, but really I'm just going to build my own experimental prototype city of tomorrow. And he had like the whole plan and everything, and then he fucking drops dead of cancer, and then all the people that take over are like, okay, we're not doing that. And now Epcot's just another theme park.
Well, did he drop dead of cancer, or did he
Was
freeze
he
his head?
To stop. Oh yeah, the frozen head running everything beneath the city.
Yep, just like the Green Goblin in the deleted version of The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah,
that was a thing that they almost put in that film.
Oh my god.
Yeah, people forget like what happened.
Well, I think
there.
The recent trash of Marvel is maybe be like, actually, The Amazing Spider-Man, and then I'm just like, no.
I've seen some of that, and I'm like, let's calm down. Let's not get crazy here.
That being said, I might have liked No Way Home less than even Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think No Way Home does everything I had morally wrong with Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then some.
The eventual retrospective episode is going to be very entertaining.
Oh, we're blowing this thing wide open.
Yeah. But all right, Walt Disney theme parks, Star Wars.
When did you go?
I went in February this year of 2022. It was a fucking blast.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
It was a delight. As someone who doesn't really get invested in like beyond like roller coasters for the theme park experience, I forget every time I step foot in Disneyland once every like 5 years. I'm like, oh no, this is the most magical place on earth. Like,
you kind of have to space it out like that though. Like you can't go like once a year even. Like
some people go like every week, and I'm just like,
I know.
Where the fuck do you get that kind of money? First of all,
well, there used to be those annual passes, and those people would buy them and then literally go like every day. Like that would be their like lunch break.
Yeah, and that makes sense, especially because I know a lot of people that live around Orange County.
I think they got rid of the annual passes though.
Yeah, during COVID they did, and it doesn't look like they're gonna be implementing them back fully yet. And I'm pretty sure that's just so they can keep making more money off of them.
Oh yeah, it's about gouging people.
Yeah, it's 100% that.
Because that's the thing, because Star Wars Land opened like right before COVID, and there was the famous like they were expecting like massive crowds. And allegedly, like, all the talk of how big the crowds were going to be actually scared people away.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Which is kind of hilarious. And then it was like, okay, well, next year is going to be our big year. And then this year's COVID. So, and then it all kind of got a mixed reception from the general public. And we're also, and that on top of the weird, like, we're not giving annual passes anymore. Now they are charging more for tickets, and now the new, in Disney World anyway, the new Genie Plus system, which is very controversial. I actually really liked the Genie Plus system. The fucked up thing about it is, though, that certain rides can cost more. And in my instance, the Star Wars ride was one of the upcharged ones. And I understand where that's frustrating. So I think that hasn't helped with the reception of everything.
Yeah, I did not use the Genie Plus system. I was
well, they don't have it in Disneyland, I don't think.
Okay,
it's a different
I've
thing.
Heard about it, but there's something over here that I didn't use. Something I would have used had I known about it beforehand was the Disney app. Now, some people think, like, what the fuck are you talking about, Diego, you fucking shill? And to that I say, I agree. I thought it was, like, a shilly thing, too. No, it does make transactions much simpler, so you can just pick stuff up right away.
Yeah, that was
including food.
Yes. Well, that's the one
big
thing. I think the one thing that I did, because this is the one thing I couldn't figure out with Genie Plus was, like, how to reserve at a restaurant. Like, that kind of was, like, something that I couldn't figure out. And I guess what they used to do was you could get the fast pass lanes, or what they call lightning lane now. You used to be able to secure them like 30 or 60 days in advance to your visit. And so people would just like be waiting for that day and like get them instantly. Whereas now it's day of for rides. But the 30 to 60 day thing I think still exists for restaurants. So, like, all of those were booked up before I even went to the park. But it was a lot easier for, like, if I just wanted to go get a fucking, like, foot-long hot dog in Tomorrowland. Nothing more futuristic than that. It was, like, really easy. I could order it, like, as I'm walking over, and then it's ready by the time I get there. And I just walk up and they just give it to me.
Yeah, see, that sounds great. Because I tried to download it at the park, and then it would take forever because there's no, like, direct Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah,
right?
think I've talked to people who have worked at Disneyland, and they say that Disneyland has some of the worst Wi-Fi on the planet.
Yeah, and then I was also constantly getting into lines for rides and stuff like that too. And so when you go near the rides on the inside, it cuts off your fucking.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Did you wait long for? I'm guessing Rise of the Resistance. Let's talk about that ride first.
That was the very last thing I went on. I think we only spent like half an hour in line.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
But it was like right when it was like 9 o'clock. The park closes at 10.
Yeah, and if you get in line before the closing time, at least in Disney World, they keep you in line.
Yeah, I mean, we were still out of there before 10. Like, it was fast. But also note that I went on like a Thursday.
Okay.
In February, not.
And I think Disneyland does attract less crowds than Disney World by like a significant margin. So.
You think you're better than us?
No, but I think it's more crowded, is what I'm saying.
Okay. I was gonna say because you guys, it sounds like you guys are, at least in terms of Disney World.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debate there, but you got a lot of the like original, the OG attractions which makes some people at Disney World a little jealous. Although we still have fucking Country Bear Jamboree, motherfucker.
I know.
And you did have Muppet Vision, and then they closed it. So, but we still got it over here on the East Coast. Yeah, so we stayed on property, and if you stay on property, you can get into the parks a half hour early each morning. We showed up right at that, and when we got there was already a 2-hour wait for Rise of the Resistance. So we got in line. It broke down while we were waiting, which has been the other issue with Rise of the Resistance, is that it's such a complicated ride that it breaks down constantly. And the woman there who was like overseeing the line was like, look, on average, it takes 40 minutes to fix this thing. And she's like, and she was also like, I've seen it take as long as 2 hours. So it was a real moment of like, do we stay or do we go? We decided to stay because I did the fast lane for the Millennium Falcon ride. So our logic was, if it gets close to that time, then we'll get out of line. But while we're here, we'll just wait it out. And they got it working. It ultimately took 2 hours. So we waited 2 hours for the fucking thing. And the reason I didn't get caught up was just that when they announced how long it might be, a bunch of people just got out of line. So that like shot us forward, and then we sat there for like an hour.
Nice.
Yeah, we did it, and yeah, I was kind of blown away by Rise of the Resistance, the ride. I was not expecting anything that good.
It is incredible.
The moment when they open up the doors and you're suddenly on the spaceship, the Imperial spaceship, was like, I kind of was like, holy shit. Is it as big in Disneyland?
I actually don't know the full size comparison or anything like that, but it felt fucking huge.
Well, here's the thing: they had a TIE fighter in the hangar, and it was the size of a TIE fighter.
They had TIE fighters. They had the lines of stormtroopers. They have the brief little bits of the AT-ATs. You know, nothing crazy. I don't remember the full AT-AT frames anywhere.
I think when you're on the ride itself, at least in the Disney World version, you pass AT-ATs. And I think other than some forced perspective, they're very close to actual AT-AT size.
Yeah, it's way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked.
I was blown away by it. Yeah, one of the most, like, I'm not into the whole, like, immersive thing that is big push at theme parks these days. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, you're not on a ride with Spider-Man, you're, like, part of the training initiative with Spider-Man or some bullshit, you know?
No. The Spider-Man ride is apparently you have to help him stop his drones that have gone
spider
crazy.
Drones. Yeah.
Fucking psychotic bullshit that I didn't participate in. But anyways, I actually have a note about this too. So, you know, there's the whole debate about like movies that are theme park rides versus cinematic experiences. Mm-hmm. I think the ultimate point we should be taking away from that statement is that there's nothing wrong with theme park rides that are very well designed and executed, because Rise of the Resistance was a fucking blast, and other rides are sometimes not a blast. Mm-hmm. like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride isn't like... it's not like a holy ground or anything like that, but I find it very enjoyable if the wait is under like an hour.
Yeah, if the wait's like 40 minutes, I'll do it.
Yeah. If not, it's like, I probably don't need to go on that.
Now, I gotta ask you this, though, about that you brought up Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
Did they... Is the Disneyland version, have they added a bunch of, like, Jack Sparrow shit to the Disneyland version?
They added one. They added the... I think they added the one. No. They do add some stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they did, like, because that's, like, the one thing, like, talking about hallowed ground, I'm like, how dare you change? It's... Yeah, that's like the one thing that like annoys me, like when I ride it now, and it's like now there's a guy being like, "You haven't seen Jack Sparrow, have you?" And then it's like Jack Sparrow's like head sticking out of a barrel. Or some
yeah,
bullshit.
The little pop up.
Which I'm not a big fan of that, but yeah, I think the thing that the real takeaway, in my opinion, is that Martin Scorsese was going too easy on the Marvel films when he compared them to theme park rides. Because theme park rides are actually fun and engaging.
Yeah, you know?
So...
It's like, I consider Michael Bay movie theme parks rides.
Yeah, a little bit. I would agree with that.
You know, it's like sometimes you're like, I need to get off this ride.
Transformers the ride kind of works better than the movie.
I would believe that. I would definitely believe that. Ambulance, I would not find an entertaining ride, but I find it an incredible film. So, you know.
It gives you a heart attack while you ride it.
I know. You can defibrillate every member that's passing through the ride.
That'd be fascinating.
Fucking... Sorry. Go
watch
Ambulance, everyone.
What was funny is, so I ended up being able to ride Rise of the Resistance 3 times while I was at Disney World.
Holy shit.
Because the first day I waited 2 lines. The second day I got to the park literally like an hour before it opened. So I stood outside of Hollywood Studio for an hour. And then before the park even really opens, they start letting you in. They do a thing called rope drop. Do you know what rope drop is?
No.
It's one of the most embarrassing things you could ever participate in. So, of course, I did it. Which is literally cast members, because they're not called employees. They're called cast members at Disney. They have like a big rope, and they're walking backwards, like slowly leading you into the park. And if they pass an attraction that you want to ride, you can get in line for it. But you can't pass them, so you have to walk with the rope. So I walked with the rope all the way to Rise of the Resistance. And then you get in line, and then it's like, well, the ride won't start working until the park actually opens. So I waited like 30 minutes. All right. And then I also fast passed it on that same day. And so like by the time I rode it and then got out, I walked around Star Wars Land a little bit, and then... it was time, and then I just did it fast pass again. And it was interesting riding it earlier in the day versus later, because earlier in the day, some of the employees were clearly, like, still had a lot of energy to them, and were, like, really in character of, like, you will be interrogated in one of these cells. And it's like, I'm not sure I don't know if I really like that, but it was like, okay, dude, you're putting a lot of effort into this.
Well, I have another note about that for a different ride they started promoting soon.
Okay, well, we'll get...
But I'll say, I gotta give the cast members credit for Rise of the Resistance, because we were the last group onto that thing. Like, they cut off the line after us, basically.
Yeah.
There were people behind us, but it was not far off. And those cast members were still fucking committed. So, props. That is not an easy job.
Maybe there's that excitement you get, like, when it's the end of your shift, you know?
Maybe, yeah.
Like,
or maybe
oh my God,
there's a cabal of secret Nazis running the Imperial grounds.
It is a little weird that it's like, okay, you're in character as the space Nazis at this children's amusement park.
Which, I don't know if you've seen that trailer clipping for that upcoming Star Wars cruise thing.
Oh, yeah, which has just opened. It opened, like, the week after I was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Although I think it's, like, a soft opening. It's, like, all the people that bought their tickets, like, 4 years ago.
Gotcha.
Like,
well, one of the very, I'll say, popular trailer clippings highlighting the experience is a bunch of excited kids pointing at the Wookiee that's hiding from the Imperial officers.
Oh my God! I did not know that. Oh my God, that's crazy.
And it's like, you can be part of the experience.
Wow.
It's like a fucking Starship Troopers clip.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
I don't know if that's
I don't know what to say to that.
Around.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, that also is, like, incredibly expensive, and apparently no one's, like, buying it, right?
Yeah, we'll see what ends up going. I don't know. It's also just not, like, maybe I'd want to go to see, because I think the rooms are supposed to make it feel like you're in space, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd be like, I'd check that out. That seems kind of fun. There's a restaurant in Epcot that kind of does that. Like, that's kind of fun. I don't want to do something where, like, it has to be like, welcome aboard, and it's like, no, I'm here at a fucking hotel. I was on, like, a fucking flight that was a nightmare to get here. Like, just fucking take me to my room so I can go to sleep, god damn it. Like,
yeah, when it comes to, like, the interactive, immersive experience. I think there's a time and place for it. If I'm gonna go to a hotel, I want to be comfortable and I not be told what to do, basically. And some people want that immersive experience, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's called a Renaissance fair.
Yeah, Renaissance fairs are awesome. I have heard that at least like the reviews that came out for this Star Wars experience, cruise line, whatever the fuck, are like pretty brutal because they're like the rooms are too small, the beds are tiny, it's all very compact. There's not a lot to actually do when you're not being told what to do.
Yeah.
And like I feel like they've kind of they haven't figured out Star Wars as like a park property yet.
Well, I think they also they used to have a lot of walk around stuff at the theme park, but because of COVID still they haven't like brought a lot of that back, you know?
Yeah.
Like Rey used to be able to like team up with Rey and go on like a secret mission.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and when I say we, I mean like they do that with actual children, not adults. But
oh yeah, no, that's fine. Let me just cross something off my bucket list real quick, you know?
I'll say this: I have someone where it's like that's the thing. I can't really get into it because it's like if someone's like, "Hi, I'm the captain of the starship," I'm like, "No, you're not."
Yeah,
like,
no, I am at that age where I was like, "This is kind of embarrassing."
I know people my age who can like get into that. Like I've just never been that guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, like when quote unquote Rey came out to like work on the X-wing with Chewbacca, while I just happened to be walking by, like I almost burst into tears like a fucking moron.
No, it was a shock.
I was like, it's Rey, and it's like, no, it's not even Daisy Ridley. It's like some poor girl that's like trying to go through college by playing Rey at the Disney World theme park.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, wow, that's totally the power of like storytelling, though, which I think is like another aspect of that theme park comment I brought up. Like, you still have to tell like a story, and I don't mean just like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I mean telling something like that's worth investing in, like your emotion and excitement into. You know, you want to experience like these thrills, and it's really fun to experience them at a theme park. You know, and like I have this connection to this fake property that doesn't actually impact our lives in any meaningful or positive or negative way. It ends up being kind of meaningful anyways, though.
When you got brought into, so like you get captured. That's actually pretty good. Was there a robot? It wasn't Akbar, but it's another guy like that.
Yeah.
You had that guy, and it was Neen Nyub flying the ship.
Yeah.
We do not find out his fate, ultimately.
Oh my god, you're right.
We find out not Akbar made it, but we don't know what happened to Neen Nyub.
Oh, no!
Hey, wait, we could just assume Finn was there. He had it all under control.
That's true.
But when you get brought to, like, your cell, and if the guy's, like, really... Like, the one time I did it, they were just like, how many are you? And it's like, okay, stand on the green line. Just wait, and then we'll bring you somewhere. And then, like, but the other guy was like, prisoner, stand on the green line. And I could tell by the look on your face that this interrogation will go quite smoothly. And it's like, wow, dude, like, are you in, like, a community theater or something?
Like, you could just tell, huh?
It was fascinating. And then that's actually a really cool effect when you're in the cell and I looked up nothing about the ride before going on, too, because I wanted to be surprised. When they cut you out of the prison cell. Did they do that at Disneyland?
Yeah.
That was really cool. Like, it's a real simple effect, but it was just interesting how they did it. When the guy brings you back there and you get all strapped in, and you can tell sometimes they are just like, okay, get out of here, we gotta go. Because that means, like, they're ready to go. But if they have to wait for, like, another car to get ready or something, like, if they're, like, delayed, they have a little bit of dialogue to do. And he's like, this is our whatever, the robot attached to your thing. I trust him no matter what. Was it you or me, if you've heard this, did it sound a little bit like the Katana quote from Suicide Squad?
I don't know.
This is Katana. She's got my back. She can cut all you in half with one sword, just like mowing the lawn. And if I was not getting killed by her. Like, it sounded exactly like that to me.
Rick Flag lives. The one thing that would have put me like completely over the moon for it is during the escape. If it started playing the Millennium Falcon theme, I would have fucking like rioted.
I think they wanted that to be saved for the Millennium Falcon ride.
Okay.
But that'd be my guess. Although, another cool thing about it is that they got all of the it had Daisy Ridley, it had fucking Oscar Isaacs, and it had fucking Finn. Like, they were all there.
Yeah.
Which you can't, it's not like you can get Harrison Ford to show up for a ride. And if I have one complaint about Star Wars Land, it's like, fucking, like, whatever you feel about Mark Hamill, if you give him the paycheck, he'll fucking show up,
Yeah.
Like, if you pay him, he'll show up. Put him on a ride. Like...
Oh, you just fucking have everyone lose their minds. Absolutely.
Yeah, I want him to come out and be like, it's your destiny. And he's looking right at me.
Yes, Mark Hamill, it is.
Yes, it is. For these few hours when I'm at Disney and I can fucking ignore everything else in my life in the world.
But you mentioned that that Daisy Ridley shows up in like that hologram thing, which actually looks really impressive.
Yeah,
and
the hologram stuff is getting a lot better at parks. Did you? I don't know if you rode it before. You probably didn't. There used to be a ride at Universal in Orlando before it became the terrible Fast and Furious ride. Where a hologram of fucking Christopher Walken comes out, and he's like a schlock movie director, and he's like, "You're gonna be in my latest motion picture."
I never saw this.
It was so cool. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. But like, it feels like he's right there, like on the stage, and he interacts with a guy who actually is there. But the way like the projection works and the type of screens they use, it looks like Walken is on stage.
Oh, that's great.
It was cool. Yeah, they don't have it anymore.
No. But
and you get to be in a movie starring The Rock, where he's
everyone's
a park
favorite
ranger.
Movie star. The future president of the United States of America.
Yeah, probably. If then, I hope a fucking tear in like the fabric of the universe just opens up like the end of Southland Tales.
Moby starts playing. And shit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Bring
That's
it.
the end of that film.
What a great movie.
Yeah, 5
Where's
stars.
the ride based on Southland Tales?
Oh my god, you have to do
I want a
so many
hologram.
drugs.
I want a hologram Kevin Smith coming out as like an old Iraq War veteran.
All right. You have anything else about Star Wars Land, which rocks? Unfortunately,
yeah, I did not care for the Millennium Falcon ride.
Okay, I did not go on the Millennium Falcon ride.
Okay, it's a weird like cooperative ride. I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't that fun, and then you get yelled at for not getting a good score.
Really?
I mean, it's just like, do better next time. It's who's that guy from Rebels, Hondo, whatever. His name is.
Fucking yeah! Everyone's favorite character.
Yeah, you can if you want to see a robot Hondo, he's there. But animatronic Hondo is like, I am enlisting the services of the Millennium Falcon, and it's like, okay, buddy, whatever.
Yeah. See, I saw like video of that when it first opened, and I was like, one, that looks really good. Two, that's kind of amazing that they took a cartoon character and put him in that.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like whatever dissonance I have from fandom right now. I thought that was so cool.
Well, here is the main problem, I think, with Star Wars Land. And there's a lot of fanboy complaining, of course, because everything about Star Wars has to be terrible for the foreseeable future if you're a fanboy. I don't know how you ride Rise of the Resistance and not enjoy it. Unless it breaks down maybe while you're on it, which it does have reliability problems. That being said, it's one of 2 rides. There is also Star Tours. Did you ride Star Tours at all?
I did not.
But I believe in both instances, Star Tours is in a different section of the park.
Oh.
And Star Tours, in my opinion, the problem with Star Wars Land is that it is perpetually set between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Canonically, that is where the land is set, so that is the only rides you can build. And to me, that's pretty frustrating. That it's like, I understand why if you're a Star Wars fan, maybe you don't want to interact with Rey, maybe you want to see, Ahsoka or something. And guess what? Ahsoka's not going to be there. Unless it's like old Ahsoka. Now, Star Tours, the new version that they opened, which is not... Here's the other thing that's sad, is that I think they were hoping with the success of Star Wars Land, they would be able to build multiple Star Wars lands themed to different planets. I think that was the goal initially. And now they've kind of revved those plans back a little bit. And part of me thinks that where Star Tours is in Hollywood Studios was going to be the next place for a new planet. And unfortunately, in between Star Wars Land and Star Tours is probably one of the best rides in Disney World, which is Muppet Vision. And so it just feels like Muppet Vision's days are numbered. That one of these days, if they decide to expand Star Wars Land, it's literally right at the entrance to Star Wars Land. So it's like Muppet Vision is like about to fucking go. So like, if you can get to Muppet Vision, it's literally one of the best rides in the park. Statler and Waldorf are there as robots. You're in the theater, Swedish chef starts shooting a musket. It's great. But Star Tours does this cool thing where it's a different ride every time you go on it. You've never done Star Tours?
I've never done Star Tours. I don't go to Disneyland often.
It's, I get it, I guess. I just surprised while you were there you didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I did other rides in the park, too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also went to the California Adventure.
Yeah. Go to Cars Land.
Yeah, actually I did. And Pixar Pier. I like the Pixar Pier.
Which there used to be a thing called like Pixar Place at Disney World. Now it's just Toy Story Land. It's all Toy Story stuff. But what was I going to say? Every time you ride Star Tours, it's a different ride. And it is set at a different era each time. So one time you might go on it, it might be set during the original trilogy. Another time you go on it, it might be set during the prequels. Another time it's the sequel trilogy. And there's actually 2 sequel trilogy scenes now. One has Finn in it, and the one that I got, which is the brand new one, is Lando. Lando comes on and is like, "You're transporting a valuable person. The Empire's after you. Get out of here, Star Tours." And it's great. And I don't know. So my thing is just, why can't the Star Wars land just be set like at all times simultaneously? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a planet, but maybe the planet has had visitors from every era, and then the different eras you go in, you know?
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
think I brought that up before too. Like, my idea for like what Star Wars Land could be is like one for each trilogy. You know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think that was the plan where the individual lands would be for the different trilogies and stuff, right? And now that might not be happening. So, like, my thing is just, like, make the rides for each different trilogy, you know?
Yeah, that would make sense.
That way you could have maybe the guy who played young Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon ride as opposed to Hondo or whatever. Which, God bless Hondo, but
keep Hondo, but make Han Solo, too.
Yeah, God bless Hondo, but, like, you want to be hanging with Chewbacca and Han Solo.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing that kind of sucked about both rides a little bit is that because of the massive, like, number of people that are trying to ride them, they move you through very quickly. So you don't really get to enjoy some of the scenery. Especially on, like, they bring you on the Millennium Falcon for the Millennium Falcon ride, and, like, I just got rushed through it and, like, didn't get... And then I was like, okay, I'm in the cockpit, I guess. But... You know, I would have liked to have enjoyed that a little more. But that's it. It's all nerd complaints. Disney's weird, though. Disney is weird with their attractions. Because they can't just build roller coasters. And it feels like you could just build a roller coaster and call it Darth Vader. And just paint it black.
Or the Knife 9.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
What was that?
Are you familiar with the Knife 9?
You know what? It's ringing a bell, but I don't know what.
You're going to be so mad. Okay, so back when Colin Trevorrow was still going to do Star Wars Episode 9, and he designed that one ship, they put the ship in the park. Did you guys have the Knife 9 too?
You know what? If we did, I didn't notice it.
Okay, it's the big First Order... well, not the big. It's a First Order TIE fighter, basically.
Okay.
And it was going to be Kylo Ren's ship in the film, and now it's just not. Now it's just there in the park.
I think we had Kylo Ren's ship, but it was the one that was in The Force Awakens.
Okay.
So there's all these stages that were set up that were clearly for more stuff, but a lot of that wasn't happening because they're still under a lot of COVID restrictions. Like I said, like I saw like Rey, and there's like stormtroopers that'll like heckle you as you're walking by, which is kind of fun. Yeah, it was a really well themed area, but yeah, it's a little frustrating because it's only 2 rides, and I think only one of the rides was actually kind of good. So, yeah, and I see if you're a fan, the fact that it's only sequel trilogy stuff might annoy you. Although sequel trilogy had huge representation while I was at Disney World, like people wearing tons of T-shirts that were just sequel trilogy stuff. So,
well, here's a way to gauge like again the longevity of the sequel trilogy. I think we consider it like kind of like scorched earth at this point after the 9th movie. Unfortunately, right?
I don't consider it that at all.
Well, no, like in terms of like people excited about what comes next, like
Yeah.
I think we feel that the last film kind of put a damper on everything. I don't think that's the case in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I went with a pretty large group of friends, and I've had discussions, both sober and not sober, with them about how much they like Episode 9. Some of us, shout out Pete if you're listening, you piece of shit. Us Star Wars nerds did not like Episode 9, but like normal people with like normal lives, like they don't react as negatively to the problems of that movie. What their takeaway is like, wow, wasn't it great that Rey had her moment to really come into her own and carry on the Jedi legacy with all the Force ghosts inspiring her to stand back up, and like just the discussions I've had about it, like outside of the internet, I was like, oh, that's nice that has that, and like the purity of Star Wars storytelling in a way still like persists. Nevertheless, she persisted, and I don't know, it's just I'm in a good place with Star Wars right now, even though I have like zero to very little interest in what's coming up very soon. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good. I'm good with the Star Wars. I'll probably watch Phantom Menace soon because I like the colors in that movie.
Also, I rode the Avatar ride, which was pretty fun.
Oh yeah. How was that?
It's really cool. But also riding it, it's like you could easily take the same mechanisms and turn it into like a pod racing ride. And I don't know why you don't do that.
You know what just fucking hit me? We're all questioning, like, I mean, we're all a little concerned about future Star Wars movies, I think it's fair to say. But we're also questioning, like, are they just not going to do them anymore? I'm willing to bet they fucking skip the 50th anniversary because they're going to be in completely Avatar sequel mode.
Well, yeah, that's definitely probably where we're going.
Yeah.
Like, it'll all depend on if lightning does indeed strike twice with Avatar 2. It's all going to be contingent on that.
Like, the day after this comes out, I'm seeing Doctor Strange 2, and the trailer's going to be attached to that, so we'll see if everyone fucking hoots and hollers and that trailer does look like something incredible again.
Yeah.
We will see.
We will see. Isn't that what Supreme Commander Snoke said?
Supreme Leader Snoke, but yeah.
Supreme Leader. Remember when there was a vat of Snokes? They should have that at Star Wars Land. Get your own Snoke, kids.
Oh, you know what? That'd be so fucking... I would buy that. I'd be fucking mark and buy that.
I gotta say,
funny.
The other thing with Star Wars Land that's a little frustrating is that it's so clearly trying to be like Harry Potter Land. Which... Do you know the story with Harry Potter Land?
No. Do I want to?
It's interesting. So, allegedly, like, Universal and Disney were both kind of playing hard for Harry Potter Land at their theme park. Because Warner Brothers doesn't have a theme park. So it could go to either one. Allegedly, what it came down to was J.K. Rowling was like, I want a Hogwarts Express train that will take people to Harry Potter Land. And Disney was like, we can't logistically do that. And Universal was like, fuck yeah, we'll build a train. And that's why Universal got it.
And that's the last interesting idea J.K. Rowling ever had.
Nah, fuck that idea, because that train inadvertently leads to the Jaws ride getting closed.
Oh, never mind.
Because where they had to build the station. But hey.
Classic J.K. Rowling L.
And that part, and here's the thing, there's 2 Harry Potter lands at Universal Orlando. There's one at Islands of Adventure, which is Hogwarts, and the other is at Universal Studios, which is Diagon Alley. Diagon Alley themed very well. The ride there sucks. The train sucks, and that's what the Jaws ride was sacrificed for. The two rides currently at the other one are two of the best rides in all of Florida, in my opinion. The Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, and the new Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Creature Adventure, whatever it's called.
Oh, you guys have way more than us.
Yeah, I think so, because the fucking Hagrid ride costs $300 million.
Jesus.
Which is a lot for a roller coaster. Like, Diego, Google Intimidator 305 real quick, which is a roller coaster.
Intimidator 305.
And
The
just
Virginia one?
Yeah, just look at pictures of it.
Okay.
It's 300 feet tall.
Whoa.
It's one of the most intense coasters ever built. That coaster alone cost $25 million.
What the fuck is Hagrid's little whatever?
Because it's so complicated. It's the best roller coaster I've been on in forever. It's kind of amazing. It launches you like 9 times. And there's a lot of animatronics built into it, and there's a lot of, like, I know the cars cost a lot of money because, like, as you're riding around on your motorbike, Hagrid's, like, in the air being like, don't go in the Forbidden Forest! Like, there's a lot of that. It goes backwards. There's a drop tower built into the ride. It's wild. It's a really great roller coaster. And it's the type of thing Disney can't build because Disney is, like, so adverse to building roller coasters that they can't justify the track for. So, like, any roller coaster at Disney, it's like, oh, the track it's actually a train, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but the other thing is that they make a fortune. I think the other story is the cost to build Harry Potter Land. They made all that money back in 1 year through merchandise alone. Because when people go to Universal, they buy the robes, they buy the wands, they buy all the Harry Potter stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so Star Wars Land has, like, an equivalent, which is, like, you can build your own droid, and you can build your own lightsaber. And just based on lines, it didn't seem to be as popular as the Harry Potter shit. So I don't know what to say there, really, but some of those choices I'm not a big fan of. Rise of the Resistance, honestly, 2-hour wait, it was totally worth it. I also waited 2 hours for Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Adventure. And it was also worth it. But another ride that broke down while I was waiting for it. Because rides these days are just so complicated, like the simplest thing can make them break down. The Star Wars one, because it's, like, trackless, but I think the Hagrid one is so complicated because it's, like, they run 9 trains at a time or something insane like that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So if someone gets stuck, it's, like, over.
Well, it's like it's also you get stuck, and it's like parts of the train go backwards, parts of it go forward, so like they have to keep switching tracks.
I need to go on that ride.
It's really good.
God.
It's really exciting. Yeah, it's worth a 2-hour wait. Also, the new Velocicoaster they just built, better than the movie, of course. And you know what the story? You know, like how there's a storyline behind all these rides.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the storyline behind the Velocicoaster is?
You have to save Blue.
No. Welcome to Jurassic World. We decided to build a roller coaster that went through the Velociraptor cage.
Oh, I'm sure that worked out really well. You know what? That is exactly what these fucking fake idiots running Jurassic Park would have done.
It is, but it's also so funny that Disney is like, no, you're on a ship being captured by the Empire as you fight for the Resistance. And it's like, we built a roller coaster. It's like the story. Also, there's like, they retain the sexism from the movies for the ride.
Oh, isn't that the most important thing?
Because Bryce Dallas Howard comes out and is like, welcome, the ride is totally safe. And then Chris Pratt comes out and is like, don't listen to this, broad. Like,
really?
I don't know if he said broad, but he might as well have.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So, yeah, it's fun. Harry Potter Land, also, the Gringotts ride, it's like, They included robotic, anti-Semitic looking fucking
Oh.
goblins.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but that ride sucks, so don't ride it unless there's like a 10-minute wait or something.
Okay. They should
Voldemort.
cross over the Harry Potter rides with the Velocicoaster.
Voldemort comes out on that one.
Really?
And he's like about to Avada Kedavra you, but then they save you, so.
Oh, good. Whew.
Yeah,
I was
don't
worried.
worry. I was getting scared for a second.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Look out, it's Ray Fiennes.
Yeah. Have you seen Harry Potter? I think he says that at you, like when he's looking at
Oh,
you.
is it actually him?
Yeah, it's Ray Fiennes. They got the cast for the movies for all the stuff.
Oh, that's great. That's like the best thing about those movies now.
The one sad thing about the Hagrid one is that like Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid, is just like so old now that like you can just kind of see it in him. It wasn't as bad as it looked on video I watched originally on YouTube. But yeah, he's just an older guy. Like, it's a little sad that they made him dress up as Hagrid again.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, we're gonna take you on these motorbikes to see some blast-ended scroots. Like,
What?
yeah, that's what he says.
Oh, okay.
remember
I'm
he
assuming
teaches-
that was English, that last part?
Yeah, blast-ended scroots. They're a thing in Harry Potter.
Okay.
But, like, you know, the Harry Potter ride, it's like... It's so weird. The Harry Potter ride in the Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey ends up being like the most progressive thing in the Harry Potter universe now. Because it's like Dumbledore has decided to finally open the gates of Hogwarts to Muggles. So you're like the first Muggles that get to visit Hogwarts. And you're going on a tour, and then Harry and his friends come out being like, look, this tour is super boring. We're going to sneak you away to come see a Quidditch match. And of course shit goes wrong. Fucking Hagrid lets a dragon out or some bullshit. Like,
You know what? That sounds like so much fucking fun.
it's a ton of fun. And it's on this weird,
Harry
like,
Potter.
you're on like a weird, they call it a robo coaster. And it's basically a dark ride, except they whip you like around and over like crazy. It's the two, the Forbidden Journey and Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Adventure are the two really fun ones. The other stuff, not so much.
I'm trying to see what the Harry Potter thing is that I went on here, because I did a one of those dark coasters too, but it was not what you are describing at all.
I thought you guys had the Forbidden Journey.
Is that what that is? Because I don't remember any of that. I went in 2016, and I remember having tons of fun, but I don't remember a single bit of that.
If they rush you through the line quickly, or if you do like a fast pass, you will miss the storyline. Because a lot of that is like a hologram. It's a hologram of Dumbledore coming out being like, welcome, students. It's like, we appreciate having Muggles in Hogwarts for the first time. And then you go in like the fucking Defense Against the Dark Arts room. And that's when Harry and his friends come out. And they're under the invisible cloak or whatever. And they come out and like, hey, we're going to sneak you out because this trip's boring. It says here on Wikipedia that it is the Forbidden Journey in Hollywood Studios.
Huh. I have no idea why I can't remember that. Maybe I just ignored the premise.
It can be a little intense the first time through it, so maybe like you're not picking up on what's going on.
Yeah, and I was like, I was fighting my feelings about J.K. Rowling and also getting swept up in the magic of this fucking bullshit.
I think I don't remember when I wrote it the first time. J.K. Rowling had not gone all out with her bullshit.
Okay.
So I have that excuse. I did write
2016. I think was like the right before Fantastic Beasts. Right, was the turning point.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because
I'm not patting myself on the back or anything. I'm just.
Well, no, I definitely rode Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Adventure this year.
Okay,
so.
yeah. Fucking class trader over here, Macaringo. Hey. No.
Look, I also rode the fucking Velocicoaster, and you know how I feel about that shit.
I like the implication in the trailer for the new movie that Chris Pratt and the makeshift family are fugitives. None of this is about Star Wars anymore, but I hate how into the premise I am. I just don't think any of it looks good.
Don't,
so I'm okay with not
Don't
watching
you dare
it.
fucking go see it.
I'm not.
Stay
I'm not.
home.
I'm good. I have Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, you fuck.
No, but I also have Star Wars, which did genuinely inspire me lately. And it's not like I've needed it. It's just like, we're all kind of going through
I kind of did need Visions the morning I watched it. I'll just say that.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
So it was nice to watch. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and just like Visions and the stuff that has excited me about Star Wars TV, definitely none of the actual story stuff, but like the actual filmmaking stuff with it.
Yeah.
Like the Batman uses similar technology to the Mandalorian, and like, Jesus Christ, that fucking movie looks so good. I've seen it like 5 times now. I'm part of the problem, but like just what we can do with all of this, and like, be it the inspirational story aspects or like the technology, it's just it's cool to see that Star Wars still has that potential.
Did you hear that the Batmobile was David Lynch inspired?
I don't believe that, but I mean, Matt
What
Reeves,
could that possibly mean?
It probably means that he watched fucking like Eraserhead and was like, look at all this machinery. Wouldn't it be cool if the Batmobile had machinery?
Yeah, no one's ever thought of that.
I know. But here's the thing. Matt Reeves, at least, like, I see where his inspirations come from.
Yeah.
At the very least. And I haven't listened to his commentary track yet. Apparently it's with the iTunes bundle, so I guess I have to get that, because I find this movie fascinating.
Fuck that. I'm not. The fuck?
I'm sure someone uploaded it to YouTube or something.
Yeah, but it's not on the... Is it on the Blu-ray?
There's only one way to find out.
That's infuriating if it's not.
The rap did a breakdown of everything he talked about in the commentary, so maybe I'll just read that.
Okay.
But I do think he's a fascinating filmmaker to listen to, like, talk about stuff. So.
Oh, hey, and one more thing about theme parks before we go.
Yeah.
So when according to like all reports, they opened Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure. That's the actual name. They opened it like a little early because the way they had it set up, they announced the date they were going to open. A bunch of nerds immediately bought tickets to be there that day, and they had like people from the movies to be there to like open the ride. One thing that was a little fucked up, one of the people they had at the opening day for the ride was Warwick Davis, and God bless Warwick Davis, but he's too short to actually ride the ride.
Oh.
Which is so it's a little weird choice to bring him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think the actor playing Hagrid couldn't be there because of health reasons, but he did like a little video. The ride kept breaking down all opening day, and people waited literally all day for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. And you can find video on YouTube of people there like opening day are like super excited, and like you can watch as the sun rises and sets while they're waiting in line for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. And I find that really funny because the story came out, I think on one day the line officially got to be 6 hours long for Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Like that was like the average wait on a given day. And the head of Disney Parks gave some interview where they're like, are you kind of intimidated by like the clear popularity of Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure and like Universal? And he's like, not really. To us, a 6-hour wait is a sign of a failure because that means your ride isn't working. So you shouldn't be making people wait that long in line. And then like a month later, they opened Rise of the Resistance. And it had similar mechanical problems and had 6-hour waits. So I just found that funny.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should all... Because that... Isn't that like the story for all theme parks? Like every first day, like soft launch or whatever, it all goes wrong.
Well, that's why they do soft launches. And a lot of what I hear they do now, especially at like the Disney parks, is they will do a day that's like employee day. So if you work at the parks, you can go and ride on them when the rides aren't officially open. Now, like it'll be like, we can't guarantee the ride's actually going to be running, but if you want to try, you can try.
Yeah,
and so
taste the meat on the cattle.
Yeah, and I mean, look, like I'm not even like the ride is by that point the rides are safe. Like I don't want to make it out like they're in danger.
No, I'm just being I'm being confrontational.
Yeah, but they for all accounts they didn't do that with the Hagrid ride because they had to open on the date they selected. Because it's also I believe it was on June 13th, which is important in the Harry Potter universe because that's the day Tom Riddle framed Hagrid for the murder of Moaning Myrtle or whatever.
Oh.
So, like, nerds really cared about that. And, yeah, it didn't go over super well. But, hey. I just hate to be the poor son of a bitch that's, like, you're in line for 3 hours, and it's like, actually, we're closing for the night because we can't get the ride working.
Well, here, I gotta tie this back into Star Wars before we wrap up. John Williams. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Whoa.
Matt, where can the people...
He didn't even do anything for
John
any
Williams
of the stuff we
did the
discussed.
music for both franchises.
Yeah, but he didn't do any of them specifically for either of these shows. Or the ride.
No, but we talked about both of the franchises, and that's the connective tissue I have. So,
all right, well, good job, Diego.
Thank you.
I knew I could count on you.
I don't know what people would do without me.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Matt, where can the people find you?
I'm at EmperorOTN1 at Twitter.com.
And you can find me at the Diego Crespo. Check out the Waffle Press on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon, where you might get the Doctor Strange episode early if you're on Patreon this weekend. I'm doing a last-minute recording with the boys from that 90s Spider-Man show. We're going to talk about Doctor Strange. We're going to see if Sam Raimi pulled it off or if I'll want to kill myself. So, thanks, everyone. Don't forget to check out the descriptions for donations on much more serious topics than what we talked about today. So, good night.
Just like Visions, we end on a downer. Good night, everyone.
Oh. We did it.